Welcome back to SABC's Prime Time. Now this week, Zweli Mkhize delivered his first budget vote speech as the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. He told parliamentarians that local government, meaning municipal government, is an important sphere because it is closest to the people on the ground. South Africa has 8 metros, 44 district municipalities, over 200 local municipalities, and the vast majority are not performing. Mkhize revealed that only 7% of South Africa's municipalities are classified as well-functioning. Roughly a third are reasonably functional, another third almost dysfunctional, and the remaining third of our municipalities are classified as dysfunctional or distressed. South Africa has seen multiple service delivery protests in KwaZulu-Natal. A number of councillors and municipal staff members have been gunned down, and municipalities in 5 provinces owe Eskom nearly 14 billion rand. That's just the beginning. Fears are also mounting that up to 15 municipalities could collapse because they are unlikely to recover their 1.5 billion rand investments at VBS Mutual Bank, the Reserve Bank, of course, placing VBS under liquidation in March after it was revealed that its main source of funds were illegal short-term deposits from municipalities. To discuss, we're now joined by the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Zweli Mkhize. Thank you for being with us, Minister. Can we start with VBS? Because it sounds like you were shocked, in fact, at what happened.
Yes, we were shocked at what happened. Firstly, the municipalities are not allowed to deposit their money in a mutual bank such as VBS, and in this case they've been given a warning by the Treasury in 2016 February, where they were informed that they need to pull their monies out of VBS, and of course they went ahead and did so, and others didn't withdraw their money. Now, when it was late...
How does it happen that illegal deposits sort of happen under Treasury's nose, even though they said no to those?
Well, you know, municipalities are very independent spheres of government, so they take their own decisions. But once they've been given a guideline as to what they shouldn't do, we expect that they should actually respond. It was only discovered by default when they were no longer able to pay that, in fact, you know, there was something that had gone wrong there. So we're going through a whole investigation which is being conducted by the Reserve Bank, which is a forensic investigation because they suspect that some fraudulent activities had taken place inside the bank where the money was moved out of the bank into some other loan schemes. So we don't have details there, but the point at the moment is that 1.6 billion rand was committed from initially it was around 20 municipalities, went down to about 18 because others actually their monies had matured. At the moment I think the figure is around 15 of them. It's in 3 provinces, Gauteng, Limpopo and Northwest.
And is this just an example to you? Because it could mean that fraud amounting to many, many more billions is going on as we speak.
Well, we're talking about this one in particular because they should...
There's a point to craziness across municipalities, that's what I'm saying.
Well, look, there's a different problem altogether that's going on in other municipalities. The real issue here was that they deposited money where there was a scam going on, and that's what we've been informed. The rest of the others, we're dealing with a myriad kind of problems there. In the first instance, you've got those which are not viable simply because of how they were structured. They don't have a rate base, they've got rural communities, there's no industries, no economic activity, they can't do anything about it, so they just rely on the transfers from national government. And then, of course, the others, which might be having such an opportunity of raising revenue, we're now looking at a number of challenges, weaknesses in governance, in issues of financial management, and issues of inability to roll out infrastructure, despite the fact there might be funds available for that. And of course, the issues of corruption. And when we look at it, also the issues of political instability, where there are tensions either amongst the councillors or between the councillors and the administration. That interface can be very problematic. And so those are the areas that we're dealing with right now.
If you look at the fact that only 7%, like you say, are well-functioning municipalities, what do you account for the rest? Is it mainly, like you say, some just don't have resources? Is it incompetence? Or is it corruption? What is our main problem?
It's a combination. There are a number of municipalities which are not viable, so on top of that, if there's any other strain, they'll have a problem. But even if you didn't do anything with them, they will not be able to cope. So that's an issue that we have to deal with. How do we build their revenue base? How do we invest in them so that they can have their own revenue? That's one problem. Then there are those where you've got, we've had over a period the problem of governance where either they don't fill all the posts or they don't fill the posts with the people who have got requisite skills. We've now dealt with that now, so wherever we go, we now insist that there should be approval of anyone who gets employed as a municipal manager, as a chief financial officer, as a senior executive in the municipality. If they are not, they didn't get. If they didn't have the right qualification, we can actually call them to be withdrawn from the employment. So that is now very strict. So that is one area. The one area where we thought we need to intervene also quite strongly is on recovery plans, where we're helping them to create credible budgets, and then they must also look at how they can raise revenue and how they can manage their expenditure, so that there's no procurement irregularities, there's no question of bad record keeping and all of those things. Just tighten those up, and that things are done properly according to the book.
So you're touching on one of the major problems. Even the previous administration said people are getting these posts as a political reward. So then you have people who don't have the requisite skills. You're now talking about moving to technocrats. But are there, if you wanted to fix everything in one fell swoop, are there the people who could become those municipal managers and all the other skills that we need?
No, there are enough people with those kinds of skills, particularly as municipal managers. It's not possible to fail to find some. The only challenge sometimes is that the right people that you want will not go to a municipality because it pays lower, and therefore they get out-competed out of the process. So in such instances, we have to end up having to do waivers, whether we increase the salary package, or we actually have to look at someone who's got good experience, who has run a municipality but may not necessarily qualify. But if the experience is there, then we can actually allow them to that as an exception. Then the other area, which is where we've also been focusing, is that there is what we call municipal infrastructure grant, which is about rolling out infrastructure. There's money for it, and sometimes municipalities don't have capacity, don't have engineers, don't have town planners, don't have chartered accountants to help to manage that money. So our intervention now is that we're going to create district teams where we're getting a whole package of professionals to go and be placed as at the district level, so that they can service all the municipalities in that area. With that, I believe that there will be no more a situation where any municipality will say they didn't have capacity to spend that money. That way they can spend the money, they can actually apply for more money, because the real challenge has been our 3.4 billion in 5 years was actually not spent. It was allocated back to different municipalities. Now you end up with the poorer municipalities suffering because they don't have the right technical skills. From now on, we're sending about 14 teams to be permanently based in the municipalities. By December, all the municipalities that don't have ability to spend infrastructure grant will have their own capacity.
So does that mean we'll have no potholes in the roads in Sandton, in the richest square mile in Africa?
No, it doesn't quite mean that. Part of the problem with the issue of the potholes is that, firstly, when the municipalities are not well managed, you find a lot of that. That means they've got a problem just in management. But the other one is that, when you roll out new services to other communities, the other well-to-do areas might actually start suffering. So we want the municipalities to be able to prioritize all of that, so that you do not have something that makes the roads unusable, the infrastructure degenerating, simply because that infrastructure is what helps the municipality to generate a lot of revenue. We would like the municipalities to be aware that they must promote investment, and therefore the way they run their municipalities, everybody will watch if they are doing it properly, and that they've got infrastructure, and that they can actually maintain a particular degree of a decent infrastructure, because it affects the industries, it affects the communities. So all of that is what they need to focus on.
But when do we get to the end of politics? Because in KwaZulu-Natal, it seems like people are still being killed for positions.
Now that's very, very unfortunate. Actually, the one of KwaZulu-Natal needs a very strong action from all levels. From the police, you need to make sure that the police, they actually investigate and arrest the people. From the community, that whatever information they have, they must actually give the information to the police. But also from the political party. The political party has to be very strict with the way the contests happen and how the management over the municipalities, over the structures of governance is not based on the kind of contest where people think they can resort to violence. So all of those issues become very, very important. So it's important for the police to be able to say, here is the cause and this is what we have found, but everyone needs to cooperate. But also a very strong management of the political parties means that there has to be also a firmness on the hands of the political leadership to be able to say we cannot allow a situation where it's easy to find people who are political office bearers getting shot at, or the public representatives getting shot at, because obviously in there it looks like there might be some underlying corruption that makes people to be targets of being attacked. So all of that needs to be investigated and opened up so that we can be able to say we can bring this to the end. We've come from that history, we can't go back there.
Is there anything your department can do to change the way this all functions? And what about the Northwest? Because it seems like the provincial politics may play a part. If you look at the vast majority of municipalities, you said that received disclaimers were in the Northwest province. So it seems to go top to bottom.
Well, the number of disclaimers are actually quite large. It's 27 municipalities. And so
what does that mean for people who don't know?
Well, basically it means that when the Auditor General walked into the offices, they couldn't account for some of the basic documentation that is necessary to be able to prove the integrity of the financial management system. And if they do not, if they cannot, say that everything has gone according to the rules, whether it's in terms of procurement or in terms of the expenditure management, the payment processes, if the Auditor General feels that way, then of course it means that there's something very serious that's gone wrong with the
anybody
management.
Could be paying anybody for anything.
Anything could be happening. Basically, the Auditor General is saying, don't count me in here. I can't even put my name in it because it's gone so wrong. Now, that's what we need to correct. And I've said we give them 1 year. All those municipalities have to actually understand that audit outcomes are not an issue of the CFO only or the treasury staff in the municipality. The whole municipal manager, the mayor, the councillors, the speaker, all of them must take responsibility. Should you not start removing
municipal managers, mayors, councillors in those instances immediately?
Well, if you can prove culpability, you can do that. In the case of municipal managers, we're saying we are actually looking at how we can insert the clauses for the senior managers where they are found to be the ones that are responsible for the disclaimers, that actually there should be actions taken on them. They must be removed. It should be as straightforward as all that. But the first point is to say to the municipalities, everybody in the municipality is responsible for the audit outcomes. So it's not like we're going to go and look at the CFO only. The mayor, the speaker, that whole council, because they can take decisions that can upset the process and you can't even do anything about it. So we need to be able to say everybody must take responsibility.
So talking about financial management, is your biggest hot potato the municipalities that owe Eskom billions?
It's a huge challenge. That, in fact, it's a challenge. There are two kinds of challenges in terms of that issue. On the one side, the municipalities are owed money. It's a huge amount, quite a lot of billions that are owed by various other departments and so on. That's the one side. On the other side, the municipalities are also owing Eskom. The total at the moment, I think by December, the figure was estimated at around 16. It might be coming down a little bit, 16 billion from municipalities, which we're sitting with an interministerial task team where we're discussing this issue. How do we deal with it? Because it's not only the Eskom, but also the water boards are owed us something around 7 billion as far as the last December. So the issue is, what is it that's causing now? The municipalities have got a problem where communities are not paying. Now that needs to be sorted out on the one side. But on the other hand, even where some of the clients are paying the municipality is not passing the the money to Eskom. And we have to go into that. Now, when you look at it, 10 municipalities are responsible for 70% of the debt to Eskom. Now, we need to deal with those, so we are going to meet with them at the same time as we have a panel of experts that's going to help us to see how we can deal with it. Because at the back, there are a number of other issues. There's constitutional issues, the mandate in terms of the laws, who should be supplying where, who should be distributing where. There's that issue, it needs to be dealt with separately. But people are receiving money, they should be paying to the Eskom.
But what is your personal stance? Because now Eskom is doing those cuts for a portion of the day. That means pain for the municipality, but also the businesses on the ground.
Well, it doesn't solve the problem either, because you know, a number of the people who there's a number of the clients who are being from whom electricity is being cut have already paid. So it's not fair that that should happen. So it's a question of when we met with them, we said we need to get them to a point where there's a meeting, a halfway point, where Eskom will be able to say we will supply, and then the municipalities must say we will pay, and then let's look at how we can solve the issues of the backlog, that the arrears that are being owed.
Right, well, I don't think we can underemphasize how important municipalities are, given service delivery protests, given what's happened in our country. So good luck to you, Minister, well, and we'll follow how it goes.
No, thank you very much. Municipalities are important, and we say local government is everybody's business. Everything happens in a ward, in a municipality. So all of us must be concerned about what is it we need to do to help those municipalities to work. All
right, thank you very much. Zweli Mkhize, Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.